A video called drive leg styles. So we're basically going to break down 3 drive leg styles of elite pitchers. So the first one is a rotator. You see those guys coming out of leg lift, they sit and they just want to spin on the back leg. What hitters would say, squishing the bug. Is the knee slammers. You'll see the knees want to push down. What they're doing is they're loading into their adductors as they come out of leg lift. They're sitting and then pushing the knee down and contracting the adductor to try to push some force into front foot strike. The final one would be the triple extenders. What we've really defined here as an elite movement at top velocity, and that's extending the ankle, knee, and hip flexor. And to be able to extend the hip flexor means it's a combination of rotation and drive. So, because this is not triple extension, right? That's just ankle and knee. It's when that hip gets extended right there, right? And that means you've rotated. So we typically do that by starting rotation through the front side as late as possible, and as we extend and power through the back side, and we get that full triple extension. Now, there's 2 key movements here. There's an extending movement, a pushing movement, and then there's a rotational or torsion or torque movement. And each one is more of one than the other. Ultimately, triple extension is the perfect combination of both. Rotation. Then the triple extenders, like I said, best of both worlds. They're trying to load into triple flexion. They're trying to trigger rotation and start the femur rotation as they extend and power and push off the rubber, and then that accelerates into rotation. So it's using both of them together as best as you possibly can. The problem is when guys run into hip mobility issues, they have tight hip flexors, psoases are really tight. Maybe they have a lot of anterior pelvic tilt. They have a hard time getting into those extensions. Some of those guys probably are the guys that just want to rotate because they can't even extend their hips. You might find some guys that could benefit from just learning how to triple extend more. The extension one is the hardest one to do because you have to have such advanced hip mobility that you're not going to see as many fully extending because of that. So you are going to see guys more in rotation because it's such an advanced move with the mobility in the hip to be able to achieve a full triple extension. The true benefits of triple extension are it's everything, because it's the best of both, rotation and drive and extension. What you're doing is you're maximizing propulsion forces, which studies show the propulsion forces are being pumped into your core, your proximal segments. And then when you stabilize and extend front leg, that's pumping it out into your distal segments in your arm. And that's really how we throw hard. We pump energy in, and then we pump energy out. So triple extension is trying to maximize those propulsion forces, obviously at the right time. We want to do it just before we land. And then we're also trying to get the rotation so the segments rotate in sequence, so we can, like dominoes, move that up our body. So triple extension is going to give us the ability to create more forces through our body in both push and rotation, and it's also going to help increase extension velocity, meaning we're going to move closer to the hitter, and the closer we move to the hitter, the shorter the distance to release. Therefore, the ball looks harder, specifically if you're closer than the average pitcher. A lot of the studies show the average pitcher is around 5 feet. So if you're 6 feet, 7 feet, supposedly that's 2 to 3 miles an hour per foot past 5 feet to the hitter. So you're increasing perceived velocity. So it's the best of both worlds in the fact you're creating more kinetic energy or potential energy into kinetic energy to create more velocity on the ball. Also, it's going to affect more spin, create more spin, and you're getting closer to the hitter, so it's perceived as higher velocity because you're closer to the hitter than if you were just rotating and staying short. Not only that, there's studies showing that the initial move, the initial linear forces that we create off the rubber dictate a lot of the command of the pitch. Guys that can really propel themselves forward through the linear forces typically locate better because they've done a better job at directing their energy where they want to throw. Think about rotators. If they don't have a lot of that, they can keep rotating and spinning off. So it's harder for them to locate because a lot of their energy is going away from the target, not going towards the target. So It is, man. This is an argument that triple extension is by far the superior approach, but like I said, it's the most advanced one because of all the challenges you have to overcome. The hip mobility, the actual leg power to create the forces, the explosive forces of moving your own body mass towards the target, and then being able to time that correctly and stabilize all those forces at front leg. So it's an extremely challenging approach, but ultimately it's the elite movement that we're all trying to develop.